All right, let's talk about turning your informative essay into an argumentative one. And here's the best part. If you've already written that informative essay, you've already done the hardest part. Seriously, today, we're not starting from scratch. We are leveling up. We're going to take all that fantastic research you've gathered and transform it into a powerful, persuasive argument. I'm not kidding. You've got the sources, right? You've already understand the different perspectives. You've laid out all the facts. Think of that as your raw material. Now all we're going to do is strategically reshape it into something that doesn't just inform, it convinces. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about shifting your mindset from just explaining to actually persuading. Then we'll forge the engine of your entire essay. That's your argumentative thesis. After that, we'll get into structuring for persuasion, the secrets to winning over your reader, and finally, how to revise with a clear purpose. All right, first things first. Before you change a single word in that essay, you have to change your goal. This is like the most fundamental shift. It's all about moving from being a neutral reporter to being a guide who knows exactly where you're taking the reader. Yeah, think of it like this. In your informative essay, you were kind of like a neutral tour guide, right? You were pointing out, here's this path, and over here's another path. But now you're an advocate. You're still being fair, of course, but you are confidently guiding the reader down one specific path that leads to a really compelling conclusion, your conclusion. So, with that new goal locked in, it is time to build the engine that's going to drive this whole thing forward. And let me be clear. Your argumentative thesis is not just a summary. It's a bold promise you're making to your reader about the exact argument you were about to prove. So what's the magic formula here? Well, first, an argumentative thesis has to be debatable. I mean, someone could reasonably disagree with you. It also uses strong, evaluative language. Think words like essential, unethical, or ineffective. And this is crucial, it gives your reader a clear roadmap of the main points you're going to make. Let's see this in action, because it makes a huge difference. The informative thesis, it might say something like, various perspectives exist on the regulation of data brokers. See how passive that is? It's just an observation. But now look at the argumentative one. It takes a stand. While data brokers claim to support the free market, their practices require federal regulation because they exploit user privacy, lack transparency, and cause tangible consumer harm. Boom. It's active, it's forceful, and it tells me exactly what the next 3 body paragraphs are going to be about. So take a look at your own thesis and run it through this checklist. Does it take a clear position? Yep. Okay. Does it use that precise evaluative language we talked about? Does it give a roadmap for your essay? And super important, can someone reasonably disagree with it? If you can check all 4 of those boxes, you, my friend, have built a powerful engine for your paper. Okay, we've got our engine, our thesis. Now we need a strong chassis to support it, right? The structure. This is where we're going to re-engineer your existing paragraphs to serve this new persuasive goal. And again, this isn't about demolition, it's all about renovation. From now on, think of each body paragraph as its own mini argument. It kicks off with a topic sentence. That's a claim that directly supports your main thesis. Then, you bring in the evidence you've already gathered from your sources. But here, this is the absolute key, the analysis. This is where you step in. You have to explain how that evidence proves your claim. It's the so what part. It's what connects the raw facts to your bigger argument. And here's something really crucial to remember. Your essay cannot just be a laundry list of reasons. That's not an argument. Your paragraphs have to connect and build on each other. You got to use those transition sentences to create this unbreakable chain of logic, guiding your readers smoothly from one point to the next. You want them to get to the end and feel like your conclusion was totally inevitable. All right, you've got your logic, you've got your structure. Now let's talk about the real art of persuasion. Because a truly powerful argument connects with the reader on multiple levels. And this is my favorite part. It uses a kind of secret weapon to show just how strong it is. And that's engaging directly with the opposition. So great arguments for literally thousands of years have blended these 3 appeals. You've got logos, which is just your appeal to logic, your solid facts, your clear reasoning. Then there's ethos, which is all about your credibility. You build trust by being fair and using really good sources. And finally, pathos, the appeal to emotion, making the reader feel why this topic actually matters. The real magic happens when you find a good balance of all 3. And to maintain that credibility, your ethos, you've got to watch out for some major red flags. I'm talking about extreme language like always, never, or obviously. Or even worse, personal attacks on people who hold the opposing view. That stuff doesn't persuade anybody. It just signals to the reader that, hey, maybe your argument isn't so strong after all. The best thing to do? Just stick to the evidence and the ideas.
Okay, so your case is solid, your appeals are balanced, but how do you show real confidence in your position? How do you take your argument from good to great? It's simple. You face the other side head on.
Honestly, this is a total power move. You bring up a counter-argument not to weaken your essay, but to make it stronger. You acknowledge the other side's view fairly. You know what's even better? Conceding a valid point they make. That builds massive credibility. Then you pivot and explain why, even with that point, your position is still the more compelling one. It shows you're not afraid of a real debate. In fact, you're welcoming it.
Okay, you've done it. You've transformed the core of your essay. We're at the final stage, revision. But listen, we're not just going to vaguely proofread it. No. We're going to make 2 strategic passes, and each one has a very clear mission. Your first pass is all about the big picture. Think of it as looking at the skeleton of your argument. You're going to read through and ask yourself, does every single paragraph directly support my thesis? Is the flow logical? This is like your architectural review, making sure the entire structure is sound and every single piece is exactly where it needs to be. Okay, now for your second pass, we're going to zoom in. We're going micro. Look inside each paragraph. Is the evidence you chose really the strongest you have? And this is the big one. Have you explained why it matters? Have you answered that so what question? This is where you make sure your own voice is leading the charge, just using the evidence for support, not as a crutch to lean on. And here's the real takeaway from all of this. Learning how to take a big body of information and build a clear, evidence-based, persuasive argument around it, that is one of the most valuable skills you will ever develop. I'm serious. This isn't just about this one assignment. It's for other classes, for your career, for your community, for your life. So the real question isn't how you'll finish this essay. It's what will you argue for next?